I'm Sonny, and you're here at the Underground. Tonight I wanted to talk about something that's kind of been spinning through my head. You know, one of the things I'm concerned about moving into the future, and that's universal basic income. And I'm sure most of you are aware of what that is, but if you're not, it's basically when the government promises to pay us so much money for a set period of time, kind of like a stimulus check every month. It would be like them saying they're going to pay us $1,500 or $2,000, every month until the crisis ends. I already know there's actually talk about this going on, and that's kind of what made me, start thinking about this and triggered all these thoughts. So, kind of like the stimulus checks, when you first hear about it, you're like, wow, that'd be awesome, all that extra money, we could really use it. And 90%, if not 100% of us working class Americans definitely could use it. Who couldn't use more money? The problem I'm worried about is the damage it causes down the road to us as Americans and as a country. Now, why do I think they're going to do this? They're going to say they're doing it because of the crisis going on, and that might be partially true, but I don't think that'll be the real reason. That's why I think it's going to come down the road a little bit further. And I think what's mainly going to cause this is our GDP, which, if you're not aware, that's our gross domestic product, and it's basically a measurement of all our service and goods in a set period of time in the United States. Now, if you're not aware of this, 70% of the United States GDP is consumer-based, and that's where I think this lies. Now, let's face it, none of us know what the future holds. As the government slowly starts to open back up, they might have to turn around and shut things back down. We also don't know if we do open back up, if a wave 2 is going to come around and hit us next winter. So with all that in there, it's causing enough damage to the economy itself. But I think people are going to be more cautious. I don't think people are going to be out there buying video games and four-wheelers and, jet skis and just normal things that we buy with extra money outside of a crisis. And that is really going to hurt our GDP. And a lot of people just aren't going to have the extra money to buy these things because this has impacted people hard enough as it is. So I think our government's going to notice how bad this is hurting our GDP, and that's the main reason they're going to look to giving us this universal basic income. But the problem I see with that are a couple things. First of all, it's kind of like what's going on in our economy and our asset classes right now. Once we start pumping money into them and propping them up, you have to continue to do that or everything falls. If you're not aware, the price of a barrel of oil went negative, and it's a lot to do with the Federal Reserve can't prop it up like it can everything else. And I think that's what our economy here in the U.S. would look like if they weren't propping things up. Right now, the Federal Reserve is buying up assets at like $41 billion a day. That's a whole nother subject in a video I plan on doing down the road, because they're going to control and own everything before you know it, and that's a whole nother scary subject that we need to talk about. My main concern with this universal basic income is once people start getting these checks and know that they're going to continue to come for a while, they're going to start living even more outside their means. They're going to get a new car, a new four-wheeler, and just start buying things that we really don't need, but because we have that extra income coming in, we feel like we can afford it, even though we really can't. And that's just going to make the situation worse. For some reason, our government keeps thinking that we can fix this massive debt problem with debt, and it doesn't work that way. So, I don't know, guys. Tell me what you think. Tell me how you guys feel. I think this is a disaster waiting to happen, but I'm sure that's where we're heading. They've tried everything else. The Federal Reserve is buying up everything they can buy, and they're going to continue to. If your boss gets on your nerves or you just hate your job, but for the next 6 months to a year you got $2 extra grand coming, I think a lot more people would walk out of their job instead of toughing it out because they have that money coming in. And that's just going to hurt the economy more in the long run. So, I don't know, guys. Tell me what you think. Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think it would be a bad thing? I mean, let me know how you feel. One thing I do want to say, though, if we do start moving towards this universal basic income, I recommend trying to get your hands on some kind of financial asset that holds its value, whether it's land, gold, silver. You guys know how I feel about, my precious metals. Because if everyone out there is getting all this extra money, before you know it, those physical assets will be gone. I mean, look at what's happening now. It's already getting harder and harder and more expensive to get your hands on a lot of these physical assets. If everyone in America started getting an extra $2,000 a month, how long do you think it would be before all the physical assets are sold out? Probably pretty quick. I don't know, guys. Just wanted to give you that little piece of advice, and please let me know how you feel about this. What are you guys thinking? But whatever you do, guys, just please, stay home, stay safe, and please, please keep prepping out there. Have a good night.